Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about a truth that nobody wants to say out loud. People don't respect you because you don't respect yourself. Respect doesn't start in the eyes of others, it starts in your habits, your boundaries, your voice, and your decisions. Every day, you teach people how to treat you when you stay silent while they cross your limits, when you say yes, even when your soul is screaming no. When you act like you don't matter, people believe you don't matter. But here's the good news: respect is not given by accident. It is created by choice, and you can fix it faster than you think. Even overnight, tonight, you can make a decision to stop begging for approval, a decision to stop shrinking yourself to keep others comfortable, a decision to stop pleasing everybody and start honoring yourself. Respect grows the moment you grow your courage, the moment you speak clearly, the moment you walk with self-worth, the moment you say, "I deserve better and I won't accept anything less." People don't follow the strongest person in the room. They follow the person who is clear, consistent, and courageous. Respect never starts from the outside world, it always begins within you. The brutal reality is this: people treat you exactly the way you treat yourself. If you speak to yourself with doubt, insecurity, and fear, then the world will mirror that energy back to you. If you walk into a room acting like you don't matter, people will believe you don't matter. Your self-worth becomes the foundation of every relationship, every opportunity, every conversation, and every boundary you set. Self-respect is not a feeling, it is a practice. It shows up in the choices you make every day. It is in the way you talk to yourself when nobody is listening. It is in the way you allow people to speak to you. It is in the standards you set for your life. When you settle for less, tolerate disrespect, or stay quiet when someone crosses your limits, you are sending a message to the world: I'm okay with being treated this way. But when you raise your standards, not loudly, not aggressively, but silently and consistently, people notice. When you start valuing your time, your energy, your peace, and your boundaries, the whole world adjusts around you, because people don't respond to your wishes, they respond to your behavior. Self-respect means choosing what is right for you even when it's uncomfortable. It means letting go of friendships that drain you, relationships that break you, and environments that shrink you. It means walking away from situations that don't match your worth. It means realizing that you are not desperate for anyone's validation. You are responsible only for your own growth and your own inner strength. The more you honor yourself, the more natural confidence becomes. You stop needing approval because you start giving yourself approval. And this shift, subtle but powerful, changes the way people view you, talk to you, and respond to you. Because nothing commands respect like a person who knows their value, protects their dignity, and refuses to settle for anything below their standards. People don't automatically respect you just because you are kind, loyal, or good-hearted. They respect you because you create clear boundaries that define how you expect to be treated. Boundaries are not walls, they are instructions. They tell people what is acceptable and what is not. And the truth is simple but hard to accept. If you don't set boundaries, people will decide them for you. Every time you stay silent when someone oversteps, they learn that crossing your limits is easy. Every time you allow someone to take advantage of your time, your kindness, or your emotions, they assume you're okay with it. Human nature is simple: people push until they're stopped, not because they're evil, but because they're used to doing what works. When you have weak boundaries, you become the person everyone calls when they need something, but forget when you need something. You become the emotional dumping ground. You become the one who gives more, tries more, sacrifices more, and ends up feeling empty, not because you're not good enough, but because you never communicated your limits. Strong boundaries don't make you rude, they make you respected. They show maturity, they show clarity, they show that you value your peace and your space. Boundaries protect your energy from people who drain you, your time from people who waste it, and your mind from people who play with it. When you say, "I'm not available right now," you're not being difficult, you're showing self-control. When you say, "I don't like that tone," you're not overreacting, you're teaching people how to communicate with you. When you say, "This doesn't work for me," you're not being selfish, you're choosing self-respect over self-sacrifice. And the moment people see that you are firm, consistent, and unapologetic about your boundaries, something shifts. They begin to treat you with caution, with consideration, with respect. Because boundaries create structure, they create clarity. They let people know that your kindness is not weakness, and your generosity is not permission for mistreatment. One of the main reasons people lose respect for you is because you say yes, far too often, even when every part of you wants to say no. Saying no is not selfish, rude, or disrespectful. It is one of the strongest signals of self-worth you can ever send. When you say no to something that drains you, disrespects you, or distracts you, you are saying yes to yourself. Most people struggle with the word no because they fear disappointing others. They don't want to upset anyone. They don't want to be judged or misunderstood. They want to be liked so badly that they sacrifice themselves in the process. But here's the reality. Every time you say yes to something that doesn't serve you, you say no to your own peace, your own goals, and your own priorities. People notice when you fold easily. They notice when you're afraid to refuse. They see that you're available at any hour, for any favor, for any request. And once they learn that you won't say no, they stop valuing your yes. Your time stops feeling precious. Your energy stops feeling rare. Your presence stops feeling important, because anything that is always available loses value. But the moment you learn the power of a calm, confident no, everything changes. No is not an argument. No is not an apology. No is a full sentence, and you don't owe anyone an explanation or justification for protecting your mental, emotional, or physical well-being. Saying no allows you to filter your life. It keeps out unnecessary drama, fake friendships, one-sided relationships, and draining responsibilities. It gives you space to grow, breathe, and rebuild your strength. It tells the world that your life has structure and your priorities matter. It shows people that your kindness is a choice, not an obligation. When you say no, people may be surprised at first, especially if they're used to your compliance. Some may push back. Some may test you. Some may even guilt-trip you. But over time, something powerful happens. They start respecting you more. They start thinking twice before asking for things that don't align with your priorities. They start understanding that your boundaries have weight and your choices have meaning. Because a person who can't say no never controls their life, and a person who learns to say no becomes someone the world cannot ignore. Most people think confidence is something you're born with, a natural gift that only a few lucky individuals possess. But the truth is much simpler and far more empowering. Confidence is built, not inherited. And the tool that builds it is consistency. You don't become confident by talking about what you'll do. You become confident by doing exactly what you said you would do, especially when it's difficult, uncomfortable, or inconvenient. Every small promise you keep to yourself becomes a brick in the foundation of your self-belief. When you tell yourself, "I'll wake up early," and you grow. When you tell yourself, "I'll finish this task," and you follow through, you grow. When you tell yourself, "I'll change my life," and you take even the smallest step, you grow. Confidence doesn't come from winning big battles. It comes from showing up for the small ones. Inconsistency is what destroys self-respect. When you constantly break your own promises, something inside you begins to collapse. You stop trusting yourself. You start doubting your abilities. You become afraid to take action because you've taught yourself that you don't follow through. But when you become consistent, even at a tiny level, everything shifts. People around you start noticing your discipline. They see your determination. They see that you're not just speaking motivational words, you're living them. And that earns respect faster than anything else. When you consistently stick to your boundaries, people take you seriously. When you consistently protect your time, people stop wasting it. When you consistently choose growth over excuses, people start admiring you. Because consistency creates reliability, and reliability creates respect. The world isn't drawn to loud people, it's drawn to dependable ones, the kind of person who says less but does more. the kind of person whose actions speak before their words ever need to, the kind of person who doesn't need to demand respect because their daily behavior naturally earns it. Consistency also builds internal calm, it removes confusion, it eliminates overthinking, it gives your life structure and direction. When you are consistent, your mind becomes stronger, your decisions become clearer, and your path becomes more focused. One of the biggest reasons people lose respect for you is because your communication is unclear, hesitant, or weak. When your words are filled with doubt, your presence loses weight. People don't just listen to what you say, they listen to how you say it, and when your voice lacks clarity, people stop taking you seriously. Speaking with clarity means knowing exactly what you want, what you stand for, and what you will not tolerate. It means expressing your thoughts without hiding behind unnecessary explanations, apologies, or nervous fillers. Most people think respect comes from being agreeable, polite, and nice, but in reality, respect comes from being direct, honest, and firm. When you speak with courage, you give your words strength. You speak at a pace that shows confidence, you maintain eye contact, your tone becomes intentional instead of shaky, your message becomes bold instead of confused, you stop shrinking your sentences to make others more comfortable. You stop softening your truth just to avoid conflict. You stop saying things like "it's okay, no problem," when it's actually not okay. People pay attention when you speak like someone who believes in what they're saying. They notice when your boundaries are clearly stated. They notice when your decisions are firm. They notice when your tone carries certainty instead of fear. Often, people disrespect you not because they dislike you, but because they simply don't understand you. Your communication is too soft, too vague, too hidden, too indirect. An unclear communication always leads to misunderstood expectations. Speaking with clarity doesn't mean being rude, it means being real. It means saying, "I don't agree with that. I'm not available at that time. That doesn't work for me. I prefer it this way. I expect this standard." These simple statements, said without anger and without fear, change how people behave around you. Because clarity eliminates confusion and courage eliminates manipulation, when you speak with a steady voice and a strong mind, people naturally adjust. They begin to treat you with caution, with awareness, with acknowledgement. Your words start carrying weight because you deliver them with intention, and when you combine clarity with courage, something powerful happens inside you too. You stop feeling guilty for speaking up. You stop apologizing for having needs. You stop being afraid of disappointing others. You start valuing your own voice, your own truth, your own perspective. One of the fastest ways to lose respect is by allowing people unlimited access to your time, your emotions, and your presence. When you treat your life like it's cheap, others treat it the same way. When you make yourself available 24/7, people begin to assume that your time has no worth. When you allow anyone to drain your energy, they begin to believe it's their right. Respect disappears the moment your life feels too easy for others to consume. Your time is the currency of your destiny. Every minute you give away carelessly is a piece of your life you will never get back. Yet most people trade it for approval, attention, or temporary comfort. They give hours to people who don't appreciate them, conversations to people who don't listen, and emotional support to people who never show up for them in return. And slowly your value in their eyes fades, not because you're not important, but because you didn't protect your importance. Energy is even more precious. You can make back money, but you cannot recover energy once it's wasted. Still, people drain themselves to keep everyone else happy, answering late night calls, fixing other people's problems, stepping into drama that doesn't belong to them. And the more energy you give away without limits, the more people see you as someone whose strength is free for the taking. But the moment you begin valuing your time and energy, everything around you transforms. You stop picking up every call. You stop responding instantly to every message. You stop entertaining conversations that drain your peace. You stop showing up in places where you are tolerated instead of respected. You begin prioritizing your growth, your rest, your mental clarity, and your long-term goals. When people notice that you are no longer available for nonsense, for chaos, for meaningless interactions, for one-sided relationships, they start treating your presence differently. Your time starts to feel premium. Your energy starts to feel rare. Your presence becomes something people appreciate, not something they take for granted. Value doesn't come from trying harder, it comes from becoming less accessible to things that don't matter. Because when you protect your time, you protect your future. When you protect your energy, you protect your sanity. When you protect your presence, you protect your dignity. People respect what is discipline. People respect what is scarce. People respect what is selective. And the moment you begin treating your own life that way with care, intention, and self-worth, people begin adjusting themselves around you. There comes a point in every person's life when they must make a choice, either continue accepting the bare minimum, or finally demand the treatment they truly deserve. People often fear asking for better because they think it will make them look ungrateful, difficult, or demanding. But the truth is much deeper. You don't lose respect by asking for better, you lose respect by accepting less. Life is shaped by what you tolerate. If you tolerate late replies, people will stop prioritizing you. If you tolerate disrespect, people will stop being careful with their words. If you tolerate inconsistent behavior, people will stop putting in effort. If you tolerate being ignored, people will stop paying attention. The world responds not to what you want, but to what you allow. Demanding better doesn't mean raising your voice. It doesn't mean becoming aggressive. It doesn't mean forcing people to change. It simply means raising your standards quietly and consistently so that only those who match your effort, respect, and energy remain in your circle. When you upgrade your expectations, something magical happens. People who genuinely value you will rise to meet them. People who never cared for you will fall away. People who underestimated you will rethink how they approach you. And people who were using you will lose access to you. Demanding better starts with yourself. When you expect better for your life, you automatically start choosing better habits, better people, better opportunities, and better environments. You stop settling for friendships that drain you and relationships that belittle you. You stop giving your loyalty to inconsistent people. You stop participating in situations that don't match your worth. Every time you refuse to accept something that goes against your dignity, your value rises. Every time you choose yourself, your influence grows. Every time you stand firm in your expectations, your presence becomes stronger. And slowly, people begin to notice. They see that your standards are not flexible. They see that your respect cannot be bought. They see that you are not afraid to walk away from anything that doesn't align with who you're becoming. You transform from someone who is easy to overlook into someone who is impossible to ignore.